Welcome back. I'm just looking at a Rohan Sword. It was supposed to be a fix, but it's been more of a resculpt. I don't want to shame anyone, but this is, well, it's a valiant attempt, I suppose, to take this horse information, this embossed detail into this hilt. And but they've made no attempt to kind of smooth it or detail it, and it's not up to scratch for printing purposes. So I've redone it with a much better result by pushing in the artwork and doing a Boolean, cutting it out. The proportions were out as well. The handle actually is too short, and the shape of the lumpy bits is quite inaccurate. These guards are they're a very specific shape. They have to be flat. They're obviously fairly flat with a softened edge, but this guy's got some kind of bulging affair. That's completely misread. So it's really important to read the reference as well as possible. And here you can see I've got a level of accuracy on the positioning and the form. So just softened it a little because it's got this kind of very worn look of this softened, polished kind of metal. So that will come up great in printing. And this kind of very close detail with, little cuts like this, that gets translated in the printing process. There's no point in sculpting, or rather, one should always consider the materials and the processes ahead. If you're designing for something, if you're sculpting, you have to, there's no point in making something which is going to be lost straight away in the next step. For example, this would be a much more tricky business in CNC. You're never going to get all that detail unless you go down to a tiny tool heads. So perfect for resin printing, and maybe even casting in metal would be the thing. And again, all that keeps translating across from ZBrush to rubber, ZBrush to print, and then rubber, and then either casting in some kind of resin or possibly metal. Maybe wax coming in between there. All these processes are going to have to do their best to retain the detail. Some of the parts are a bit unrealistically small, like that's probably going to get lost along the way. Anyway, I need to tackle the blade, and then it's complete. Now the guy has done some strange business with his blade. He's got a very thin connecting part here, which is very unrealistic. It does look like in the reference there's some, kind of rising up from the corners here, which we can try and emulate, but without any compromise to the thickness at the top. In fact, I've still got a gap there I should get rid of. So I'll just pull that up. And deal with that. So I need to get onto this the kind of chamfer of the blade. These channels. Apparently they're called fullers, and they are one likes to imagine to help with drainage Now, the fact is, the Weta sword in the reference images has the two channels. Oh yeah, you can see. Can I just mention about the guy delivered this with he delivered the sword like this. These are the polygons. So you can actually see what he's trying to do here. The crazy thing is why he didn't take the next step of just dividing that a couple of times. And look, he would have got much closer to the kind of circular grooves that he was aiming for. And on the left, that is actually his sword, but divided and dynameshed. Now the fact is, I don't want to do the Weta sword that's shown in the main high definition images. I looked at the film images, and in fact that's not the sword that's used in the film anywhere. It's all a different sword, and the sword used is really damaged and hacked, very, very battle worn. But it doesn't have this double groove affair at all. I need symmetry. X and Z. Everything's in the correct position. You see the head. There are no grooves in this sword. It's the more traditional kind of rising up to a central ridge. So we'll get that with some live Booleans. Again, the same kind of approach as before. But first I need to fill all this void. So I'm just doing that with the reverse flatten, which somehow becomes a fill. The best fill brush I've been able to work with. See, it's incredibly accurate. Where you have a recess, it's just wants to fill it flat because it's a flattening fill. It's so useful. Now it's going up to the edge but leaving an edge, which is, I guess that's due to the size of the... I want to try and keep the sword as perfect as possible in the meantime, just because I know it's really battered and dented and nicked. It doesn't mean I'm going to mistreat it at the moment. In fact, I want to have both options available. So I think I need to get in a bit closer and, you know, refine this. Take the brush down, and then you have a closer fill. It's tempting just to, you know, you want to have it as large as possible to fill as much as possible. But then you understand that I'm not going to get that, I'm not going to get beyond that edge with a 90 or, you know, whatever it was. I'm going to start taking it down. And so it's a bit labor intensive. There's no other way. But that's sculpting. Some of it's more creative, some of it's more problem solving, and some of it is rather routine and you know, filling, carving. But carving is creative when you're actually, carving away. I use the flatten tool a lot for that, and it seems like it takes forever, but it's very satisfying because you're creating a form by taking away material, mostly, sometimes adding back, which is, of course, you can't do in a solid material. And that's what's so miraculous about these marble sculptors. They don't get any second chance. No chance to go back and fix if you knock that thing off. And you know what thing I mean. What are you going to do? Glue it back on. Imagine sculpting for days and weeks on a piece of marble, and then you knock a finger off or something. Must have happened all the time. Must have happened frequently anyway. Oh, maybe you just do it on training. You just train and train and train so much that when you're let loose on the... I'm talking about Renaissance technicians here, artists and studio workers. Because God forbid the artist did all the work. That would just be too much. But you'd have to be well trained. My God, imagine being an artist and letting someone loose on your block that you don't really know that well. You just wouldn't do it. You'd have to be very well vetted. You'd have to be... They'd be coming from your studio. You would have trained them. You would know exactly. You're not just going to take someone in and let them loose. So it's okay to just fill that up to the edge, and then I'm going to start to take this edge back. Oh yeah, I didn't... I'm being a bit silly. I'm not thinking ahead. Much of this is going to be lost. This volume is going to be lost. What I'm doing right now is actually, maybe not the first part where I had to fill up to the center line, but please let me get rid of this inferior blade. I had to fill up to the center line, but actually this hard line here, I'm going to lose that in the next step. So why am I still doing it? Don't know. So yeah, the next step is the live Booleans old trick again. So I'm going to want to set up some cylinders. Well, a cylinder, and get that going in a live state. So just bring that in. It needs to be quite large because that distance is a fair distance. Oops. Okay, so got my cylinder. Pretty convinced it's going to need flattening. That, like that. And in fact, we can take a look at... Let's try and imagine. It's going to be widening. Oh yeah. It's coming down like this. So, without further ado, let's try that one. And a bit of division. And a live Boolean. And a sub. Okay. Right, well, let's keep it away from the hilt. In fact, there's some, yeah, it doesn't actually reach the top in, oops, in the real sword. It kind of fades out at the top quite nicely. Let me think, I need to dynamesh this because it's looking very ropey. It doesn't have to be very high because I want to, let's just smooth off those nasty shapes at the top. These polys are all distorted. Like that. Alright. So where were we? Okay, in the blade it doesn't quite reach the bottom. Well, yeah, no, I mustn't look at the Weta. I have to look at the film. The film shows some very dodgy pictures. Yeah, it goes all the way down. It goes all the way down at the bottom. So it's quite like that. Oh, yes, that's not down to the bottom either. But I'm going to be doing some rotating now. So this is where see, right now it's not vertical quite. Is it vertical? Let me see. Oh, it looks terrible. It's all very uneven. Oh God. This wasn't the first attempt. Wasn't the first attempt success I was hoping for. Why is it so ropey on there? Anyway, a bit of pulling around. Some angle changes are required. I've got to get this up to the edge as well, on the other side. This is embarrassing. Why is it so... I was expecting a much more geometric result. I guess the surface of the sword can't be terribly regular because, you know, obviously this thing is regular, one would hope. So let's do an inspection. Yeah, that's the cylinder, flattened. But when applied, it's very irregular. Oops. Why is that? Okay, that's good. That's good on the outside edge. And I've got a rising up to the middle. But I've got no straight line. Why is that? me just cut this off because it's annoying. Let me think. What we're gonna do? What we're gonna do? Well, certainly, what you do is cut away the business you don't need, which is transferring to the other side. Whoa! What happened there? What have I done? It's quite simply that the sword, the blade is not straight. I just assumed it was straight. Yeah, look how. What on earth? Okay. The blade is not straight, but the Boolean is. So, like I did with the Eomor spearhead, if I pull this up, it will. Whoa. Yeah, that's way too much. Right. I need this to meet a little bit more in the center. My center is, yeah, between these two lines. So, shall I bring this Boolean further in? You see, it's hitting the center on the way down. So maybe just a touch of rotation. Okay, I can try that. This pivot is wildly all over the place. I wish it was more refined. I don't know what to do about that. If anyone's got any advice. It seems to go in large chunks. And doesn't really make a lot of difference if you pull back. Well, it does make a little, it feels like it makes a little bit of difference. Anyway, all I had to do was rotate slightly. And I'm in the center. Okay, nice. Now this business at the end, it doesn't come back like that. Of course, it should come out again. If I do a little pull on that side, perhaps that's enough. Yeah, well, not with I don't have symmetry on. Yeah, this is the kind of thing. Now, where's my hilt? Yeah, I mean, I can fix a bit of that later. It's very strange working with negative objects. Just checking my reference. So. Could be something like that. I think I'm going to give it a little more space like this. Just room to smooth that out. Okay, this is pretty exciting. Have we still got enough volume of blade left? Yeah. Now if I, well, yeah, it does look quite thin, but it is a nice thin sword. It's not a chunky thing. it's nice and thin. So I just need to adjust the bottom again. Somehow need to bring that to the end. Yeah, it's funny. The movements, they work well in reverse. It's like trying to do something in a mirror. I'm playing with an invisible object. So the directions I want to go work well in the opposite way. So it takes a little bit of doing. Now, let's double this up and see what kind of volume we've got, what kind of central line. And what we're talking about, right, the idea at the top is not maybe, yeah, no, it's a bit much. No. Well, it's very hard to see. Actually, it does look, yes, it does look something like this. If I can take away those edges. Right. Okay, beautiful. We've got a sword. Now that's a sword. God, I used to be nervous of swords and blades. Well, obviously I am in real life, but they're not as terrifying to me now for sculpting, because I've got a method that I like, and see, if I pull up my volume now, it becomes maximized, and oh, this is great. Okay, this is taking less time than I imagined, but more than you would have liked, so let's get on with it. How thin is it? It's perfect. Right, because it really is quite a thin sword, but there's a limit, you know, you can't go crazy. It does feel a little bit clunky at the top, but we'll fix that after. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do a Boolean on that. So I'm just going to do it like the old traditional way of polygroups. Group as Dynamesh sub. Blade, merge down, redynamesh. And we should have it. Let's see. Beautiful. That angle looks a little bit straight there. That's not going to be the case in real life. Needs just a touch of a curve. Just here, not too much. Hey, take that intensity down. This is exactly right. Okay, I like. I could even fix this a little bit. Although I would suggest that might be better done in print with a piece of sandpaper. Sometimes, you know, you want to provide enough material to work with, because trying to translate things, you know, when it becomes too small, fragile, you know, think about the next stage. Are you just going to lose it? Now look at that edge. That's nice. Okay, a bit of tidying up at the top. Okay. I just want to get rid of this kind of very sharp line. So take that away. Careful though. It's still a blade. Back face mask. Please. Although it doesn't really matter because we're going to copy this over, duplicate, and show it on both sides. Now, can be a bit more dramatic here. Careful now. I'm going to need the back face because, no, I don't need, yeah, I just explained. I'm going to copy it over. But it's good practice, I mean. Working without it can do a lot of damage. Whoops, took my eye off the ball there. This has to be really quite soft. Everything about this blade is very subtle, and then, you know, it's very damaged, but we'll do that later. It's a bit much. This all looks a bit much. It's too exaggerated. The real thing's much more subtle. I'm gonna take this volume right down. Yeah, that's more like it. Because I want a good thickness, kind of maximum thickness at the top where it meets the hilt. But I have to transition much more subtly. Like this. Okay, I think this is the idea. It's very tricky, the reference is not great on this. But that's definitely more like it. Okay, good. Right, well I'll just cut that and you know, cut it down the middle, just around, just beyond the halfway point with symmetry off. Thank you. Just beyond the middle point. That's very much cutting it fine, but let's try. duplicate and mirror in the X, in the Z, sorry. Beautiful. Right, merge. Dynamesh. What the hell? I didn't delete my hidden. That's an actual mistake. Oh, easily forgotten. So many steps. Done them over and over and over, but still forget. Dynamesh. Lovely. 4.5 million poly sword blade. That can take lots of texture, but that's close to ready on the whole thing. Oh, I just have to do the top. I have to reverse this one. Oh, and there's also a central kind of detail that's missing. But again, duplicate, mirror in the Z, merge. Oh, let's not forget this time to delete the hidden. And we should be good. There's only 1.6 million. Gosh. Well, it's not important really, because it's not going to take much more texturing. That's going to be more of a straight to print, straight to yeah. Okay, well, that's it. Thank you very much for watching. The Rohan Sword tidy up job. Oh, the handle is going to be real leather, so wrapped around this thing. So I don't really care about. I'm not too concerned about that. Much better. Okay, bye.